Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, drugs are seized in Coast Guard police operation in Portland. An undetermined quantity of vegetable matter believed to be ganja was seized following a joint police-military effort in Jamaican waters Wednesday afternoon. It was reported that around 1:30 p.m., the Jamaica Defense Coast Guard sought the assistance of the police following an operation where they had chased a boat believed to contain illegal drugs. The boat reportedly went under the bridge in St. Margaret's Bay in Portland and up the Rio Grande River. It was suspected that about 4 men were aboard the vessel and had dumped the drugs on the banks of the river and tried to turn around. However, their path was blocked and they eventually ran, leaving the boat on the river. A police team and the JDF personnel went to a section of the river and several packages containing vegetable matter resembling ganja were found. A team from the Portland Marine and the Area 2 Narcotics visited the location and the drugs were seized and transported into police custody. No arrests were made in connection with the seizure, the police said. Father and the son charged with Flower Hill murder appear in court. A father and the son appeared in the St. James Parish Court for the first time on Wednesday after being charged for the fatal shooting of a woman and the injury of her female relative at their home in Flower Hill, St. James in March. Charged with murder and wounding with intent are 57-year-old Wilford Cook, otherwise called Kong, and his 21-year-old son Levon Cook, otherwise called Jaja, who also lives in Flower Hill District. They are being represented by attorney at law Henry McCurdy. They are charged in connection with the killing of 36-year-old security guard Natasha Smith on March 17. During a bail application on Wednesday, the court clerk objected to bail for the younger Cook, claiming he was a flight risk because he could not be located after the murder. At that point, McCurdy stated that his clients are innocent and are eager to clear their names. He also mentioned that the younger Cook turned himself into the police after being informed by his father that they were searching for him. Furthermore, it was revealed in court that instead of a formal identification parade, a confrontational parade was held on April 3, during which the elder Cook was not identified by the witness. However, when it came to the younger Cook, presiding judge Natisha Fairclough Hilton stated that he was not a stranger to the complainant, that she knew him before, and that she referred to him by his name in the statement. In terms of the father, the judge noted that, despite not being identified in the confrontational parade, he remained in the area and voluntarily surrendered to the authorities when he was made aware of the allegations. Nonetheless, Fairclough Hilton stated that she was curious about how the preliminary report was drafted. She specifically highlighted the complainant's mention of Levon Cook and another man. The judge noted that if the father was going to be charged, the report should have identified both Levon Cook, the son, and Wilford Cook, the father. This raised the questions as to why the father was not directly named in the report. On that basis, the judge stated that she would like to have the investigation officer present because she had some questions. The father and the son were remanded in custody until Thursday, when the bail hearing will continue. According to the allegations, about 3:30 p.m., Smith and her relative were inside their house with other family members when both men, armed with firearms, entered the yard and opened fire on them through a bedroom window before escaping in the area. The police were alerted, and on their arrival, Smith was seen lying on her back in blood with a gunshot wound to her chest. She was taken to hospital where she was pronounced dead, and the other woman treated and released. Both Wilford and Levon Cook were arrested and subsequently charged. Man accused of assaulting pregnant baby mother referred to counseling. A man accused of hitting his child's mother was referred to the probation services for counseling when he returned to the Halfway Tree Parish Court on Tuesday. The case was referred there following a failed mediation attempt due to the complainant's absences. The complainant told the court, however, that she and the accused, Patrick Ross, have since spoken and he apologized for his actions. She went on to request to have the matter dropped. Senior Parish Court Judge Sanchia Burrell inquired of the complainant whether the incident was the first time the accused had laid his hands on her, to which the complainant said no. "Why not always come back for them when it is not the first time it happened?" Judge Burrell questioned before asking the complainant to recount what happened when the accused had hit her. "I was pregnant with my last child by another man, Your Honor, and he pushed me," the complainant said. The complainant went on to request that Ross, who is facing charges of assault occasioning actual bodily harm, receive counseling. Ross agreed to the measure, and his case was referred to probation services. He is to return to court on July 30. His bail was also extended. Weekly incidents of violence plaguing education sector, says Williams. Education Minister Favour Williams says that Jamaica's education sector is reeling from the effects of incidents of violence every week. Minister Williams, in decrying the incidents, said the country is too small to be contending with the incidents. Mrs. Williams said school violence disrupts the learning in the institutions and also has a negative effect on the community.
When we look at the data from our critical incident reports that schools are required to submit within 24 hours of the critical incident for the period January 22 to January 2022 to January 2023, a total of 55 critical incident reports were submitted through the regional offices to the Safety and Security in Schools unit at the Central Ministry. It is instructive to note that the 55 critical incidents occurred at 50 different schools, 15 primary and 35 high schools. 5 of the schools had 2 critical incidents each, from gang violence to physical assault to robbery to break-ins at the school to school bus accidents to alleged sexual grooming to drowning to vandalism to stabbing to attempted abduction to brawls to physical altercations to a fire and alleged sexual assault. Given that there are 190 school days in the school year, 55 critical incidents at our schools equate to a critical incident happening somewhere in the education sector every 3.5 school days.
Man fatally shot by police in Greenhill, Westmoreland. As the police intensify their operational activities in Greenhill, Westmoreland, following a surge in gang violence, a 28-year-old man was fatally shot Wednesday morning due to a reported confrontation with a police team. An illegal gun was seized in the operation. The deceased has been identified as Pete Bowen, otherwise called Tellai, a resident of Sterling District in Greenhill. About 5:15 a.m., a police party went to Sterling District to serve a warrant on Mr. Bowen, who was wanted for questioning. The cops surrounded his one-bedroom house and ordered him to surrender. It's alleged that he opened gunfire on the lawman, who returned the fire. He was fatally shot and a .38 pistol recovered from him. The Independent Commission of Investigations is probing the shooting. Keith Clark murder trial again stalled. Trial Judge Justice Dale Palmer, who is presiding over the case involving 3 soldiers charged with the May 2010 murder of Keith Clark, on Wednesday declared that he will not allow any further delays in the over-a-decade matter. Justice Palmer made the declaration Wednesday afternoon in the Home Circuit Court after reluctantly yielding to the Crown's application to a further delay in the hearing of evidence against the soldiers, Lance Corporals Greg Tinglin and Odell Buckley, as well as a Private Arnold Henry. The trial, which began Tuesday with the impaneling of the jury, was slated to continue Wednesday morning with the calling of witnesses. But about 11 o'clock, a perplexed Justice Palmer rejected the Crown's application for the matter to be adjourned until Monday. Almost an hour later, he backpedaled on his decision after the prosecution disclosed one of the witnesses had a medical issue. Prior to Justice Palmer's rejection, the prosecution said it had challenges with the availability of the transcript for Mr. Clark's widow, Dr. Claudette Clark. The transcript is of Dr. Clark's evidence, which was given at a hearing that concluded last month. The prosecution said its intention was to start with Dr. Clark's testimony to facilitate a smooth trial. The prosecutor explained that it would be prudent to delay the trial as the defense had indicated that it required the transcript to conduct a cross-examination. The prosecution said its other option was to call 2 other witnesses, but that plan failed because one of the witnesses has a medical issue while another potential witness requires a subpoena to appear. Justice Palmer said he was surprised by the application given the fact that the Crown during the previous sitting maintained that it was ready to start. Rejecting the application, the judge pointed out that 2 witnesses were present and that the Crown could start with one of them or with Dr. Clark's testimony. But the judge stood down the matter for more than 30 minutes to determine how the hearing would proceed. When the matter resumed, the prosecutor told the court that the witness who had the medical issue actually has a blood clot in the brain and that the prosecution would be unable to proceed. The judge in response said he was disappointed, but given the circumstances, he reluctantly granted the adjournment. He said there will be no further adjournment come Monday. Keith Clark was fatally shot at his Kirkland Close residence on March 27, 2010, during a police military operation to apprehend then fugitive drug lord Christopher Dudus Coke. The prosecution has said despite the delay, the murder trial, which was slated to last 6 weeks, is now estimated to last 4 weeks or less. The prosecutor explained that the defense has agreed on documents and that will save time. In the meantime, King's Counsel Peter Champagny said he understands the Crown's position. Mr. Champagny said a letter that was drafted in relation to having the transcripts this weekend is in the process of being delivered.